Lights out, we're racing in MotoGP. Lights out, we're racing in MotoGP here then in Malaysia. Once again, he's nailed the start of pole position as the 63 bike of Bagnaia. Look at Pedro Acosta once again, capitalising on that missile KTM. He gets the drop on Alex Marquez on the run down into the first corner. Bagnaia leads, then Acosta from the second row immediately up into second place. Aldeguer is trying to tough it out here with Quartararo going down the hill into turn 2. Quartararo has had a really good start. He's from the second row up into fourth as well.
Quartararo wasn't letting him have it. He holds on to fourth place. Morbidelli is the big loser, and Alex Marquez, if he wants to go after Pecco Bagnaia, needs to pass Acosta quickly.
And he has done. He picks up Acosta and runs Acosta out through the paintwork on the outside of turn 4. So Alex getting very aggressive early on here, through on Acosta in that fourth corner. Fernandez back in 18th. Besekki's trying to work his way forward now up into P14.
And Alex Marquez has jumped right onto the rear tyre of Pecco Bagnaia. Whether this is Bagnaia being a bit cautious with his rear tyre early on, or whether Bagnaia is macking a little bit of front-end confidence, Alex Marquez has caught him very quickly, out sideways, out of control on the way into turn 15, but he just about gets that Ducati stopped.
Yeah, Alex was begging, wasn't he? Please, please, please stop Gresini Ducati on that run down into turn 14. Over the line we go as Marini's up inside the top 10. Bagnaia from Alex Marquez. Acosta trying to pick up some slipstream here, trying to out-drag Alex on the brakes into the first corner, not close enough.
What might be happening with Bagnaia is he's now the only rider. Timing screens are now giving us up-to-date time information. Bagnaia is the only rider in the top 8 who's on that medium front tyre. Everyone else behind him is on the soft front.
Further down the order, we've got Brad Binder in 11th. He's had a good start, up 7 places on lap 1. In fact, nobody made bigger gains than Binder on the factory KTM, from 18th up into 11th as Alex Marquez goes on the inside. Bagnaia, well, he was aggressive, wasn't he, on the first lap at turn 4 on Acosta. He's paid the same move through on Alex. Got into the title line there. Through 5 goes Bagnaia, but it's Alex Marquez that leads.
Acosta buzzing all over the rear tyre of Bagnaia's Ducati as the front end momentarily tucks there for Pecco Bagnaia. He's not got the support he wants at the moment from that medium front.
No, he hasn't, and that was the perfect time to ride on board with Acosta there. Big moment, wasn't it, for Bagnaia on that medium front tyre. We're going to stay on board now as Acosta almost runs into the backers further down the field. That's Aldeguer versus Mir. That's some fight between the two Spaniards at the moment. It's in the hands of Mir. He's going to be powerless now, isn't he? They go side by side, Aldeguer versus Mir. Who's going to be winning the game with there on the brakes? Aldeguer's got the inside line. This is a battle for 5th. Mir goes around the outside. They almost take each other out on that run down into the first corner. Saying thank you very much goes Morbidelli now up into P6.
Yeah, this is crucial time that Aldeguer is losing. We think he's got the pace to potentially win this race and fight later on as Alex Marquez darts up into the distance. Once again, Bagnaia is fighting a rearguard action against the KTM of Acosta.
He's got nothing in the braking zone, has he, at all? At the moment, that medium front tyre is not working out for Bagnaia at all. Alex Marquez passed him going into 4. That's brilliant by Bagnaia on the inside of Acosta going through 5. You can almost hear the crowd singing themselves hoarse in the main grandstand here. Some battle is between Bagnaia and Acosta, but it's playing into hands, isn't it? This is perfect for Alex at the front of this Grand Prix.
Well, Bagnaia knows how hard Acosta is to overtake, so he doesn't want to have to overtake him at any stage. So he's defending for all he's worth at the moment is Bagnaia, but Alex Marquez is already the thick end of a second up the road.
At least we can see on the onboard from Acosta as Acosta does take the inside line going into turn 9. That's a lovely move. Is he going to run a little bit hot? Bagnaia will try and sweep around the outside and does so as they go through 10. The onboard from Acosta there, we could clearly see he wasn't working the sprint yesterday. The rear eye device of Bagnaia's GP25 is fully functioning in this Grand Prix.
And he was certainly fast even without it yesterday. Maybe he wishes he didn't have it again at the moment. We ride on board them with Acosta through 12. Now the 2 right hands of 13 and 14. And we know how strong that KTM is in a straight line. He'll follow Bagnaia now and try and attack him once again into the final corner.
Pedro, a pest here for Pecco, isn't he? Bagnaia just cannot break away from the 37 KTM behind him. Alex Marquez at the moment is almost a second clear of Bagnaia. He started this lap at less than 4/10 clear. Alex has gained half a second alone on this lap ahead of Bagnaia. He's having to work so hard. He's having to dig really deep here with the defend off Acosta. Over the line we go. Alex Marquez was indeed half a second quicker than Bagnaia on lap 3.
As was Joan Mir on the Honda. He's now zooming up behind Quartararo's Yamaha, and if he can pass him, he might join this battle for second place yet. Bagnaia's just got to try and stick with this and just hope that that medium front tyre comes into its working temperature, begins to bite this Sepang circuit, and he'll come into play later on in the race. But of course, if more riders pass him, he's not going to be able to make that time back up in the latter stages.
On board now with Mia, tyre spreading turn 3 this is where you really are going to have to manage it in the latter stages of the Grand Prix.
Personal best for the pair behind this too, Morbidelli and Aldeguer, 6th and 7th, 59.6 for Morbidelli, only a 59.9 though for Aldeguer, so he's over half a second off the race leading pace as the yellow flags come out in the second sector for Pol Espargaro, who is dropping down the order.
Pol Espargaro head in hands for the Spanish rider who had contact with Luca Marini in the sprint yesterday.
He scores no points in the Grand Prix either, unfortunately for Paul, who's had another quietly impressive weekend.
Acosta once again is wringing the neck out of that KTM. Said in the sprint yesterday, he's got the talent, he doesn't really have the tools to be at the front where he wants to be, winning Grand Prix, but once again, riding above and beyond Disney Acosta, he is dragging, kicking and screaming every ounce of performance out of himself with an RC16 right now. Bagnaia just can't break him at the moment. Let's just check the gap between 73 and 63 as we start this latest lap. Alex, fair play, still in the 159s. Bagnaia and Acosta then tip into the 2-minute laps, 2:00.1 from the pair of them. That's only a tenth quicker than Quartararo, who's still somehow keeping Mia at bay in 4th. Alex Marquez, having made that early aggressive move on Bagnaia at turn 4. He's looked super slick at the front of this Grand Prix on a slick surface here in Sepang. It's been faultless so far by the 73. We wondered, didn't we, having secured second in the World Championship, whether Alex Marquez would be fully unleashed once again in 2025. Well, I think we have got our answer.
Mir this time going to get the move done. Once again, he's sideways on the inside. Quartararo had his own moment, and that might have just given Mir the crucial metre or two that he needs. The 2020 World Champion is now up into 4th place.
What an onboard shot that was, as we just saw Quartararo's boot come into view as Joan Mir set up the move on the climb up into turn 4. This has been coming. Quartararo always feared he was going to suffer with a lack of rear grip, fading rear grip on that factory Yamaha. Are we in the territory of the Grand Prix now, halfway through, where the M1 is just starting to run out of rear tyre? Mir then gets through. The gap between Quartararo and Morbidelli is only 0.8 of a second.
This gap is going up, 1.25 seconds now for Alex Marquez. So Pecco Bagnaia, if he was saving, well, you might have to start using up a bit of the rubber you've got left if you think you've got a chance of chasing after Alex Marquez. He just cannot shake off Acosta, can he? Doing low 2 minutes, so it's not like Bagnaia is going slowly, but he is losing his grip on a potential double victory now.
This is the reason why we did the 2018. I did say that he might have been picked offline by Morbidelli, and well, he was. He certainly was. That was Exhibit A, Frankie Morbidelli aggression. In fact, Acosta might go to the inside here on the brakes into 9th. That's a move that he's threatened on a few occasions. Fair play. This is a rearguard action that Acosta will be proud of. He's delivered a few of those himself, hasn't he, in recent Grand Prix? He's going to go for the inside line now through 11, and Acosta then finally has retaliated on Bagnaia. Bagnaia just does not have the grip, does he?
He's run out of pace completely. He's already lost half a second on this lap to Alex Marquez, so Acosta didn't have to wait around any longer, had to make the move. It's probably too late, though, for Acosta to chase down Alex Marquez, unless Alex has been using too much tyre up in the first half of the race. But the gap between the top two, which is now 73 and 37, is 2 seconds now.
I think we're going to see a big moment here for Aldeguer. One of the reasons why he's not figured properly into turn 9. This is going to be a front end save, isn't it? He goes through. Fair play, Fermin. That was almost disaster 24 hours after being crowned Rookie of the Year in 2025.
another one.
Well, yeah, another one. Well, we saw it, didn't we, in Moto3 earlier on in the back end of the Grand Prix. These slippery conditions and these scorching hot temperatures really are late on seeing riders have massive, massive moments. Alex Marquez put the icing on the cake yesterday in the sprint, securing second in the World Championship. Well, today's Grand Prix victory will just be the cherry on the top, won't it, as Bagnaia is just running out of pace here. Really is struggling. He was that early leader from pole position, but he's got some serious trouble building behind him here, because this is not a given that he's going to hang on to this podium. Bagnaia should have this one killed off. It's easy to sort of criticise Bagnaia and go, well, why did he go for that medium front tyre? He would have said, well, with the hottest conditions of the weekend, that was the only way that he felt that maybe he was going to have the support in braking late on in the Grand Prix. He would have his reasons, and we'll understand his reasons for why it didn't work out post-Grand Prix very, very shortly. Bezzecchi trying to find a move once again through on Binder. Those two have had some close calls already in this battle further down the field. Just over 0.4 of a second in favour of Quartararo at the moment. On board then with Bezzecchi up into 6th gear in excess of 300 kilometres an hour before he drops anchor. Somebody's gone down in the final sector. Who's down the road to the final corner?
Aldeguer.
Oh, it's Aldeguer. Well, this, I have to say, is, well, it has been coming. He's had some big, big scares, hasn't he, on the front end of that Ducati. It looked like, I guess it was just to the point where that gap, I just said he was pinching time back on Quartararo in the race for 6. Unfortunately, trying to pinch too much time back, trail braking into turn 15. We've seen that crash happen so many times down the years, and just with the front grip fading, Aldeguer crashes out. There'll be Bagnaia's gone in really hot into turn 4.
Has he?
He's got a problem. What's going on here with
he's
Bagnaia?
cruising.
Yeah, there's something happening to Bagnaia. He looks down to his left-hand side. So Pecco Bagnaia's Malaysian Grand Prix is over. Well, there wasn't going to be a dominant dream double here in Malaysia anyway for the number 63. But when he was looking like in a safe and secure 3rd place, Pecco Bagnaia, with 3 laps remaining here in Sepang, is down and out. Engine's running.
Yeah, still running.
Yeah, the engine is running. So what has happened here to Pecco Bagnaia? That has turned into a disaster, hasn't it, for Pecco Bagnaia? 3 laps from home, and he's going to have to cruise back to the pit lane. Of course, out of all that late drama, this has pushed Mir onto the podium places, and he's 1.4 seconds clear of Morbidelli. So an overseas tour which started with a podium in Japan for Joan Mir, looks like he will finish with a podium here in Sepang for Mir. This will be some bounce back as well after his disappointment in the sprint yesterday.
And this is now a battle for 8th place between Marini, Zarco, Binder, Bezzecchi and Agura. And Marini still leading it. Momentarily Bezzecchi got himself into the top 10, but he's been repassed by Brad Binder once again. They're all back in the 2:03s now in this group. That's how much they're all struggling with their tyres. They'll be hoping these 2 laps click off quickly.
Yeah, some of this lot will be dealing with some real issues with the front tyre temperature. Binder now goes on the inside of Zarco into turn 4. There's just no way you can be this deep into the Grand Prix when you've been in such a big battle as well, that you're not having to be really cautious on that front end. We saw Aldeguer get caught out.
Zarco's struggling big time. Look at the gap that's opened up already ahead of him, with Binder going through. Binder's disappeared off the road. Bezzecchi's now going to come through. Bagnaia into the pits. He is out of this Grand Prix, and Johan Zarco has gone from the front of this queue all the way to the back in half a lap.
Late drama and late heartache then for Pecco Bagnaia, who was on course for a double podium here in Sepang. He immediately comes into the factory Ducati garage. Immediately up go the shutters. They're not going to give any indication as to what has caused the early retirement, the premature end to Bagnaia's Grand Prix. Oh, that is frustrating. That is really, really deflating, isn't it, as far as Bagnaia is concerned. Joan Mir then up into P3. Looks like he's got Morbidelli well and truly covered off. Yeah, he's still that 1.4 seconds ahead of the Italian in 3rd place. Morbidelli's got no trouble behind him, with Quartararo almost 2 seconds down the road.
Quartararo is safe from Gian Antonio at the moment. He's a 2nd and a quarter clear. Alex Marquez has now started the final lap of this Grand Prix. Difficult to imagine the weekend getting much better for Alex Marquez after he secured runner-up in the World Championship yesterday, but it is about to get that little bit better.
Yeah, it really is. We felt like he said himself, with the pressure eased, having tried to secure second in the World Championship. That was job done, completed here yesterday. And Alex, minus any kind of pressure, free to just attack, and he's been brilliant in this Malaysian Grand Prix. As Aldeguer goes on the inside of Bezzecchi here. This has been a real strong late rally by Aldeguer. He's now up into the top 10.
And he's now the top Aprilia in this race. Binder, of course, making that move on Zarco, who does have a little bit of an advantage up the road, so he shouldn't be caught. Alex Marquez, who can't be caught for second in the World Championship. That's the damage that's been done to Bagnaia's third place in the Championship. Bezzecchi, even with 11th place, does go back ahead of his fellow Italian. But Alex Marquez, who's taken 2 victories on Spanish soil already this season, the memorable first victory in Jerez, followed by a home win in Barcelona. After a sprint win here 2 years ago, he's about to triumph in Malaysia.
This has been a brilliant performance, hasn't it, by Alex? And Alex Marquez has sprinkled some magic on the Malaysian Grand Prix. In 2025, he wins for the 3rd time in a season which has seen him secure 2nd place in the championship. Behind brother Mark, Pedro Acosta does take a stunning 2nd. Joan Mir on the factory Honda does hold off Morbidelli to take another podium for Honda. That's 2 Mir and Honda podiums in 4 Grand Prix here in Malaysia and in Japan.
Alex Marquez takes the win then ahead of Pedro Acosta, while Joan Mir profits from Bagnaia's late misfortune to take a podium. Franco Morbidelli misses out by half a second, with Fabio Quartararo 5th ahead of Di Giannantonio. Bastianini, Marini, Binder and Aldeguer pick up top 10.